Low fidelity, boys. Let's do this.
Traptendo.
What is going on, guys? DJ Av here. Smash the like button because we're going to be talking about lo-fi and all of its glory and VSTs that you can use to get that lo-fi sound. And on top of that, you know, just basic mixing concepts and tips and stuff like that. So, yeah. Listen on headphones or studio monitors, please, not laptop speakers. I want you to hear all the frequencies and play this track in 3, 2, 1. So first off, bass hum out there. First off, I want to point out this real quick. The first VST that I'm going to talk about is Vinyl Strip by Audio Things. I have done a review on it, so yeah, you can check out the review and yeah, make your judgments off of that. But there are some intense things about this plugin that I really like, and reason why I'm pulling it up. Again, the whole basic part of lo-fi is the fact that you're crushing, bit crushing, which is a form of distortion, to be honest. Is one of those concepts which a lot of people like it, and I hate to say hipster, because I really do love this low fidelity movement because it reminds me of cassette tapes, and that's why people like this movement in general. So why vinyl? Why does it say vinyl strip? It's because it has like different attributes you can add in from vinyl. But anyways, so the sampler part is the biggest part of this entire plugin. If I was just to turn off everything except for that, you can hear the basic concepts of the bit crush and bit rate. One of the first things that you're going to notice right here, as far as, again, one of the biggest attributes to low fidelity is the bit rate and bit crush and whatnot. Well, bit crush, bit rate. And what that does is this, you know, if I was to mess with that, you can hear that the quality in its own drop the rate that it's in, which not necessarily, again, not one of those things that you're gonna do on every track, but this is just a subjective thing to this particular style. It became very popular. It's popular because of the fact, if you remember some of the older samplers, or if you don't know that, if you're one of the newer producers, is that when they had older hardware, you was only able to sample in 12-bit versus 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz or 44.1k kilohertz. You only had 22k kilohertz to work with, or lower. So 44.1k kilohertz is considered hi-fi, which is high fidelity. So what is the most endearing part about that? So the endearing part about low fidelity in general is that you get more of a mono presence, which means there's a better chance that your frequency flow of all of your frequencies, even though your frequencies in about 12 kilohertz will be a little less than usual, you'll have a stronger mix. And what I mean by stronger mix is the fact that you will hear it good in a lot of different speakers, even in like laptop speakers or your phone, your iPhone or whatnot. You know, you have a chance of hearing that presence, because the mid presence and the lower frequencies are the hugest part of that. So it's kind of a good concept that you can use in mixing in general. Not to mention that, you know, your drums sound stronger, they hit harder because of that mid presence that is being focused on, and that it only plays certain pieces of your harmonics. As you hear, you heard a bigger bass jump in this plugin right here, and that's because I added the cutoff and tilt ratio. And if I was to mess with that further, see, I can cut off all of my lower frequency content and have it high like that, and it starts ducking a little bit, which doesn't sound good to me. My aim was to have it bump. And with that, you can just mess with some of the cutoff and get a sweeter sound as well. But in the result of you trying to aim for like a sweeter sound in the 10 kilohertz, which is in your higher frequency range, you start losing your lower frequency content, start losing some of that low fidelity, and it just starts sounding weird, starts sounding radio-ish. And for the last part, I'm just going to go ahead and bypass everything so you can hear it normally. So low fidelity does have its perks. In general, you know, even though the drums that I'm using right now, and the link is in the description box, I don't feel like pulling up the actual, but that's TRIPLE SEIS LOFI drums right there that I'm using. But you know, the whole entire concept is that you're getting a bigger sound, but you're getting a low quality big sound. That sound in the low fidelity sound in general was very huge during the 90s with the golden, quote unquote, golden era of hip hop. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well. So moving on to another plugin, because it's not the only other plugin that can do that. And you know, I answer another a question, I'm pretty sure everybody. Another one, which this one is a free plugin, and I've already covered in Free Download Friday, is this right here. And I'm waiting for it to pull up. If I actually move, let me see. Let me go ahead and actually pull it up. Oh wow, I'm a fool. Izotope Vinyl. There we go. And I'm allowed this to pull up itself, and it has some of those endearing qualities about it, just like Vinyl Strip did. And except the thing with this, it's a little easier to use because more or less you would go and balance with where. Let's just hear it right now since it's on. As you see, messing with where, it did about the exact same thing as if I was to try and bit crush it or whatnot. It doesn't have that gritty sound that Vinyl Strip has, and that's kind of the only thing that I don't like about it. But at the same time, it does accomplish it, and it is a much cleaner sound. And you can dirty it up by doing certain things like adding mechanical noise, and I'll be drastic about it. So conceptually wise, you can do exactly the same thing as you would with Vinyl Strip for free. And this is by Izotope, and shouts out to them because they did a damn good job with this. One of the main features that I do like about it is the warping depth. warping depth. Plays as if this track or this beat or whatever is like a warp record, which I have plenty of those. Has a little bit of a bend because it might have been either bent during some part of the ownership, or it might have not been printed right on the lacquer, which causes it to warp. I want to point everybody's attention to this area right here where you can pick the different warping modules. And it's a bit cool. It's a bit cool too. So I'm gonna be less subtle about it. You do have areas where you can go down to like 1930, and then you're gonna lose a lot of your lower frequency content. As you can see, my voice just got bigger because I have a lot of lower frequency content in my voice. Just turning it up, but you can add it back in and just kind of slightly adjust it as you go, and then the track was down. I'm not necessarily sure what the RPM is there for. I just know that 33 is the today's standard for cutting vinyl, and 45 is more or less of like the 60s and 70s, and the 78 RPM revolutions per minute is for like the 1930s, and nobody uses that format anymore, which is the fastest revolutions that it spins. My first guess is it has to do with the warp depth. And my guess is right. It does the RPM feature right here, the parameter, does to do with that. But it's cool because this plugin you can do just things and just add your touch in there. It's not really hard to use. Boy, I gave that track a nasty snap. Really like it. That's the thing about low fidelity. You know, you can actually add this to your mix in general and just be a little subtle about it, and then you'll have something. You have a totally different beast. So moving forward here, I have another plugin, and this is by D16 Group. And I like those guys. I'm really into their plugins. I think they make them, and this is not a free plugin. This is like $45, I believe. Let me go ahead, and I got to do something real quick. I'm gonna make the size of this big. I made it small because I had to put it on my other monitor, which is 720. I need to get a 1080 or a 4K separate monitor. Now, right now, I'm broke. But anyways, I'm gonna reload for you guys real quick. Boop. And now you can see this is Decimort 2. There's a first Decimort, but I don't think that exists anymore because there's no point. Decimort 2 is really good. One of the main things about it, you see you have a big old resampler, and we're gonna play a track. One of the main things I do like about this plugin off top is the fact that again, you have control of your sample rate, where you could drop it from high fidelity to low fidelity right here with this resampler knob, and you could change the resolution right here. So you can change it from 15, 16, 13, 12, 10, 9, 5, 4. Then you can change the dithering of how it would relay that signal and how fast it will relay the signal. what I like about this plugin in general versus all the other ones, even though it's quite possible to do what I'm about to talk about, it's just that you have a huge knob to automate right here. And you know, it's just a huge knob to play with. Sometimes GUIs kind of matter when you're trying to conceptualize a mix or trying to make a mix or whatever you want to call it. But that isn't all what I like about it. The huge amount of presets in this make this unprecedented. As you see, you have different ones you go through. I'm going to go through some of them. So with that, you can see that this is a pretty strong plugin in its own, and I've just been messing with it just a little bit. I think this one, you know, again, I think it's like $45 or whatnot. So it's not super expensive for what it does. I think it is worth way more than the Waves vinyl plugin is, at least from what I observed. I haven't got the Waves plugin yet that's supposed to allegedly do the same thing as these right that I just shown you. But that's just basically about it. You know, I just wanted to hit you with a quick history here. As you can see, you have a SB 1200 preset, which is basically 12-bit or whatnot, and it's not 100% on the spot, but as you can see, it's a little bit harsh on the frequencies there. You might have to roll off right here. You see the cutoff right here. You might want to roll off some of that high frequency content that preset has. Yeah, this is just over. It was overall a little bit not like the SP 1200. So, you know, you can't get a quick fix there. But I do, if I was to recommend a preset that would be more or less like the 1200, it'd probably be the MPC 60. That would sound a little bit like that in terms of this plugin, not in terms of the actual hardware itself. But yeah, so the grittier, the better or whatnot. So it's just a few tools that I wanted to point out that I've seen. Anyways, if you like the video, give it a like. If you have any comments, please leave a comment. Let me know, what is your favorite lo-fi plugin? What will you be using this type of concept in your mixes? I know a lot of people are gonna say, why you have a limiter there? And that's to make sure that everything isn't going over a specific, if I want to say over like 10 dB, so I don't want it to be super distorted or add extra color to the mix that wouldn't exist otherwise. Anyways, DJ Av, have a good day. Stamp, peace.
Trap Tendo.